So Attack on Titan's recent chapter was an experience. Something extremely memorable, very tragic and scary, and really shows the reality of what Attack on Titan was building up towards. However, today I want to focus a little bit more closely on Zeke, as there's a couple of interesting questions that come up regarding him, and more specifically his utilization and his future, and where it could potentially lie. For quite some time we did not know what would happen with Zeke. The last time we seen him, he was slumped over in Ymir's realm, not really doing anything. And I feel the community was rather split on that regard in terms of how he could potentially come back into the story. On one hand, you have people saying that he's pretty much done and dusted at this point. And then on the other, you have people saying that he'll most likely come back. For me personally, I wasn't necessarily sure on how to feel about him. His usage throughout this story has been extremely significant, and I feel like it definitely hit that peak before Eren took control of Ymir's power and has obviously started the rumbling. So trying to detour him back into a primary spotlight, I felt would have been a little bit weird, especially in the current events. What truly could he actually do? Ymir is not going to listen to him, and the power he has is very minuscule and tiny compared to the cataclysmic events and world-ending situations that's currently going on. Instead, we got something rather surprising. It seems that Zeke is currently being controlled by Eren, more so weaponized and used as a tool just to obliterate anything in his path, because the ways it can be played upon and things that could come out from it is rather important. Obviously, we have a lot of characters that need to go up against Zeke, more specifically Levi, because of the history and the past that has somewhat aligned them together to face these regrets, to face these issues or these burdens that they both have, and either potentially slay each other or slay one another, or even somewhat forgive. There's definitely a lot of opportunities for that, but it falls onto the idea of what Zeke is currently. Is he even alive? Is he just somewhat fused with Eren, or is he just a tool in the back of Eren's arsenal to use whenever he pleases? The first thing you kind of notice when Zeke comes into the picture is that he is born what seemingly is from nothing. Eren actually creates his body from his Titan structure. This kind of makes me believe that Eren, with the power that he has, can manipulate Zeke's Titan specifically, or what is probably more prominent to be a thing is that Zeke is still within Eren's realm and pretty much merged with him to some degree. I wouldn't be surprised if Zeke's human body has actually been destroyed, so the only place that he is technically alive is within Ymir or Eren's realm. And obviously he has no control there, he has no power. He could just be locked away within there, and it's rather ironic for his character, and I feel like is rather fitting to play that tragic role where he wanted to do all of these things that were different to Eren, to carve out his own path and to take control of Ymir's power. Instead, he is now watching it and being forced to watch it, I should say, from the perspective of Eren, watching all this death and destruction, and now his body is even being utilized as a weapon to cause even more harm. This is something that Zeke obviously didn't want. He wanted a different outcome. He wanted a more specific outcome. So chaos and destruction like this wouldn't actually happen. I don't necessarily think Isayama will bring a lot of attention to Zeke's humanity. I don't expect him to do this complete 180 or change his outlook of things because of this situation that's currently happening, but I do suspect him to be a little bit more lenient to the situation and kind of see the bigger picture. However, it all kind of depends on how much control or what mental state he's currently within. Last time we seen him, he wasn't doing all too great, and his body is being manipulated and controlled by Eren, but for example, what if he broke free? What would happen from there? If he managed to take out Eren's connection from the nape of his neck, would he regain control? Would his human body even be in there, or is his mind and conscious somewhat just merged with the Beast Titan now, and more specifically, maybe even merged with Eren? There's definitely a handful of opportunities to go down, but I don't think any of them will be explored in depth, just because of the amount of chapters that we have remaining, which is maximum 5 at most. It doesn't necessarily give you enough time to play out Zeke's mindset a little bit further. If anything, he'd probably be killed within the next chapter or the chapter after that from Levi, but I do suspect that there would be a bit of a conversation that takes place with either Zeke's conscious or him connecting with someone through the paths or memories or whatever it may be to bring his character to a conclusion. I still see a very specific panel of Zeke being very upset, maybe even crying, or potentially even thanking Levi for freeing him. Once again, it all kind of depends on what mental state he's in, and if his mind or conscious is even within the Beast Titan currently. There could also be something hidden here as well. The big problem that I don't think has really been addressed by the people attacking Eren at the moment is how they plan to get into Ymir's realm. Every single time they've been in there, Eren has been the one to drag them in, and it's somewhat to assume that the final moments within this story is going to take place within that realm. The final time that everyone will potentially see Eren. The final conversation Eren has with Armin and Mikasa, and potentially him lying down to rest with his scarf wrapped around him thanks to Mikasa on the paths itself, which funny enough resembles a tree. And if you take that all the way back to chapter 1, this is where that correlation comes back into play, that future foresight situation that happened where that moment within chapter 1 could easily mimic the final moments of Eren while he's laying down within this realm against a tree and saying goodbye to both Armin and Mikasa. Obviously, this somewhat proceeds after the potential events of them getting through to Eren's humanity. But once again, the idea comes into play is how do they get into that realm? Can they even pull Eren out of this Titan form, which is what they're currently trying to do? How does that even necessarily work if his body is not that of a normal Titan? Surely he wouldn't have that specific weakness if he is the founding Titan and is controlling all of this situation, right? Zeke may very well be that anomaly that bridges everyone into the realm. That's more so just a random idea that came to me within these moments, but it's something that I feel could be played upon rather well. While everyone is fighting the Beast Titan, with Levi going through the hurdles and potentially slaying each other or one another, with Zeke potentially begging to be killed or trying to save his own humanity or whatever it may be, the mindset that he is in, the emotions that he could betray, how he could help stop Eren, I feel rather fitting for his character. I don't necessarily see Zeke living by the end of it, even if for some reason Levi did give him the opportunity to live because he was going to help Armin and Mikasa get into Eren's realm currently. I do think Eren will obliterate Zeke off the face of the earth. Now that I dwell on that idea, I feel like that is something pretty sinister Isayama would do. Give you this false sense of belief that Levi and Zeke have somewhat connected, and as much as they were about to kill each other, Zeke offers this opportunity to be able to help them. And he does, evidently lives within that moment, but also gets killed by Eren right after. I guess that somewhat hinges on the idea if Zeke's human body even still exists. If he's created from nothing out of Eren's Titan, it's safe to assume that maybe his body is no longer a thing anymore, and his conscious is somewhat just merged with Eren, or at least stuck within that realm. Either way, if he's now within the Beast Titan, so he's brought out of that realm, and you kill him within this form, you are still actually freeing him. Which, when you compare eternity within that realm, not being able to do anything, shackled to literally nothing, something that Ymir herself went through, I think death would be a much better option and a lot more peaceful. So with that being said, let me know how you feel about Zeke. Do you think he's going to help people get into Eren's realm? How do you feel about him being controlled by Eren? Where do you feel like Zeke's fate lies? Is he going to be killed? Is Levi going to kill him? I'd love to hear your thoughts. But I want to thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Drink plenty of water, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.